Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Make a Good Mega Man Level Contest, or Megamel for short. During the last part, I completed 128 Up's Under Construction level, and I also completed the Stove Guy's Spiky Meltdown level. So now in this part, I'll be completing the level at 6th place, Lamda's Thunderclyffe Plant, and we're finally going to the 70s score level. So let's take a look at this. And we're introduced initially with a pretty good background. And a nice snazzy music track in the background. Kind of have an open place to get used to. And the movement and whatnot. I really wish there was more enemies in the front, but it's just a minor complaint. I also unequipped the trade-off ability off of Mega Man because doubled invulnerability time while still taking double damage isn't really worth it for me. Unless, of course, this stage is full of instant death traps. Here we have the bulldozer enemy. We have this Cannon Joe. Not too bad. Here's a funny glitch over here. Yep, it's that bulldozer's breakdancing right over there. Funny. Kind of tight corridors over here, similar to Napalm Man's stage. And we have all these shield attackers. I do like the background and transition from the overground to this in-base location. Oh, I completely missed that elect beam. Here we can actually collect that power-up if we really wanted to. I'm going to ignore it. Oh yeah, also as you may notice on the top left part of the screen, there seems to be some missing tiles. I'm guilty of that as well, as you may have saw in my Napalm Forest and Caves level. So yeah, some oddities with the engine. I had a lot of problems while trying to make my level, so I don't blame you. Still, it's kind of playing it safe. I don't really see any unique platforming gimmicks. I'm gonna just see platforms and enemies. And relatively easy enemies to deal with, none of them are super annoying. I'm just gonna start spamming weapons. Just to add to the variety. Okay, we're going further downwards. We have this, I'll just run right past it. Hello, Pandita. Goodbye, Pandita. Oh, whoa. That was a little bit close. Kind of sparsely populated rooms, but overall good enough. Now we have the background from Pharaoh Man. And we've all these mats and this gumball dispenser. And we have this giant enemy, who I just make minced meat out of course. And now we have the entrance to the fort. So the stage has been overall pretty easy with no unique gimmicks, and just a relatively easy enemy placement, no really annoying enemies to face. But I do like the aesthetics, background, and music choice. I do like how each part of the room flows into, each segment of the stage flows into each other. Like when we were entering when we started the stage, gone into the first fortress, then gone to the bottom, and now we're entering this fortress. Well, that was kind of close. These are the only places where Yoku Blocks will be used, which is unfortunate, as that would be one of the only places where platforming gimmicks are being utilized. A lot of cannons here, so that's so nice, and we're basically climbing a tower, so the addition of these cannons is pretty nice. Now I have to climb up these platforms. Be warned, there's an elect beam trap over here. Sadly though, if those shots go off of Sadly though, if those shots go off screen, they won't do anything. As you may have noticed, when that shotman tries firing upwards, it can't actually hit me. So that's nice. Oh yeah, by the way, in order to grab that, I was supposed to take the left ladder. No worries. There we go. Clever usage of Rush Jet. Or clever usage of utilities is always nice. Even though I keep complaining about Rush Jet, I do like you can do that in this game. This is forcing you to go upwards quickly, otherwise you get launched into the pit. Let's take the right route and see what's there. Technically, in order to complete the stage, you need to take the left route, but if you go to the right, you'll get a free W tank, of which I'm almost maxed out on. But we're nearing the end of the stage. We have these small energy pickups just to prepare us for the mini-boss fight, which is just a big guy. Here there would be a boss, but at the end we just have this energy element. So that was Lamda's Thunderclyffe Plant. A stage that's really playing it safe, because the only things I see here are the nice background aesthetics, the nice transitions, the music's pretty good as well, but the enemies as well as the level gimmicks are pretty safe. The only unique level gimmick were the Yoku Blocks, of course. Everything else was just typical platforming, and it was unfortunate because the Yoku Blocks were only used in one part of the stage, or one screen specifically. But I did like the tower segment the most. I felt that was the most unique and strongest part of the stage, whereas the previous segments of the stage probably need more work and more uniqueness to get better. In fact, I kind of find the under construction Spiky Meltdown levels to be more fun in that regard. Especially Spiky Meltdown, as it has more unique gimmicks, even though it's much harder. That's going to influence my final ratings, or final rankings, in the description. Oh, I see, because the end of the room is actually... Okay, so when you transition and you're sliding, because of the room transition, you'll just get shunted into the wall. Good to know. Well, I suppose it's another weakness of the engine. Oh, Tesla Cordal's team. I think it's from a Mega Man X fan game, but I'm not sure. This level's pretty solid, but it plays it too safe for personally my tastes. I would rather play Under Construction or Spiky Meltdown repeat playthroughs, while this one feels like it's missing pizzazz or something extra to distinguish it from itself. It's not as bad as that snow level in Tier 2, but it just feels like this level really needs something more unique to stand out. In some ways, this feels like either an intro level, or more so because it's more difficult. It feels kind of like a mid-tier stage, similar to the intermission stage in Mega Man 8 or the Roadmaster Museum stage in Mega Man 7, if it actually had a level gimmicks, or stage itself. Okay, but still it got 70, so that's nice. Yep. And at 5th place is WreckingGoomba's research facility, with a score of 74.2, and this is Mr. Kurium's favorite. Wow, it's still his favorite, but it got a score of 68. Well, to be fair, Mr. Kurium and Blackwing Darkmoor are the harshest judges here, so I can see why. And there's a good reason why the research facility is one of his favorites. Also, the music here, first off, is kind of loud relative to everything else. This is the opposite issue for many other stages here, so you may want to turn that down, WreckingGoomba. We start at the Mega Man 3 background with the Mega Man 9 Wily 1 stage team. Jumping over these spikes, nothing too special yet. And we need to climb up here, and we're right at the entrance of this Wily Fortress. That's what I'll call it. It's basically Wily 3 Stage 1. The Mega Man 3 Wily Fortress 1 stage background. But what makes this stage quite unique and why it's Mr. Kurium's favorite will be seen very shortly. Remember when I said earlier about some stages of bosses? We have a reference to the Roadmaster archive from Mega Man 10, complete with the music. So we have to fight these 3 times, and we have these spawners which will mimic bosses from previous Mega Man games. Like this is the boss from Wily 1 of Mega Man 2. In fact, let me pause here. These are all the bosses that you would fight in Wily 1 of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. Like this is the Yellow Devil. This is the Mecha Dragon from Mega Man 2. So they do follow a common set of where they appear from. And this is the one from Wily 1 of Mega Man 3. The one that you would actually hurt by shooting the turtles, shown there. Well, it does maintain it, although it seems odd to me. And just like the Roadmaster Archive fights in Mega Man 10, it acts exactly the same way. Only one left to go, and there we go. This is why this stage is rated so highly, mainly because we have 3 creative Roadmaster Archive fights. This is the first one, showing off the Wily 1 fights, or the bosses at the end of the Wily 1 Fortress stages from Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. I keep getting tongue-tied when saying that. But the stage itself leading up to the bosses and following them isn't really that special, if you ask me. It acts like a nice Wily stage, but as I said with the previous stage, I would like more uniqueness. But it does remind me quite a bit of the Wily 3 Fortress, or Wily 1 of Mega Man 3. Here we have to jump over these spikes while avoiding all these tellies. Nothing too difficult, you could just use the rush to get past. Here we're in a segment where it feels like we're in a VR room or something. Oops, that wasn't really my intention. I don't really need that extra life. And under a minute, we're in the next Roadmaster Archive fight. It's good that this stage doesn't really have that many stage segments, as they're relatively barren, or generic, but the bosses themselves make the highlight of the stage. It's actually similar to Mega Man 10 because that had 2 or 3 Wily Fortress or Wily Archive fights, if I recall correctly. Back in the Wily 1 of that game, I think there was. So now we're mimicking Darkman, Dr. Kozak, and this one. This is the giant turtle fight. None of these are too difficult, especially with my super-powered buster, of course. The ones that are most dangerous are the dragon, the turtle, and the Dr. Kozak one. Darkman is pretty easy to lure around, so you should fall pretty simply. This one's the most dangerous because the bottoms of the platforms are deadly, and you can get hit by those fireballs. And Dr. Kozak, well, he's unique. The only danger here is that he may get stabbed if you're not careful, or may get caught by those spread projectiles. So just lure it around just the way you'd fight him in Mega Man 4, in fact. Come on, let's do this. There we go. The second Wily Archive fight is defeated. We have these upward platforms, and interestingly enough, those platforms were custom coded, and unlike many of the other platforms in this game, those did not glitch out any time when I played this during my test runs. Here's something really creative. You can't open those green platforms in the top. As long as you stand on those up and down platforms, you can go straight through them. That's quite interesting. I just wish those were used more often. Be really careful while this. You can get shunted right off the screen and be forced to replay this stage. This did happen to a streamer. Okay, we're back outside. There we go. And I completely botched that. But overall, these last 2 stages of Tier 4 are kind of easy, compared to the previous 2, which were quite difficult in a way, especially with the spiky meltdown, but these feel relatively a breeze to go through. Although that may be because of my greater Mega Man experience in playing all these fan games. Whoa. But this fortress is at least ramping itself up. I wouldn't mind if this was an actual Wily Fortress stage in a Mega Man fan game, or legitimate game, or original Mega Man game. Be careful about this segment. Whoa. I'm not gonna risk that. I'll just move forward and fight the final Wily Archive boss. This time we only have one, and we have the Mega Man 9, a team. Now it's mimicking the multiple Wily machines. I'm not sure which ones this is. Okay, it can create that explosive at the bottom. It can fire these guided projectiles. They'll only go in your direct position, and when it's in the center of the screen like that, it can fire that rotating orb attack. At least these don't follow you twice, so it makes it a lot simpler. This is definitely one of the easier Wily fights, but it can catch you off guard if you're not careful. As you see, you can create those shockwave bombs, or the shockwaves from those bombs, fire spread out in an arcing pattern, clockwise specifically, and of course, it can also create those homing shots. Though they don't act like the usual Wily capsule ones, where if you were, they would at least go into your position slightly, then reconfigure themselves once or twice. Here, they just went directly. But definitely this stage was very unique and amazing. It earns the score of 74.2. And a great selection of bosses. The first set were the Wily 1 bosses from Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. The second one were Darkman, the Giant Turtle, and Dr. Kozak. But the actual stage it was serviceable, but it really should have spent more, as it felt like it could have been taken further and just window dressing to make it so they don't go directly from boss to boss. But I do like that the Sparkman platforms, especially the green one, got some love. Yep, they do have a good thing between Faithful and Improved. Yep, if this was a Mega Man fan game, I'd kind of expect Dr. Wily to be begging for mercy at the end, or be a fake Wily robot. And yeah, the level itself it was boring. It wasn't really playing it safe like Thunderclyffe Plant was. The Kozak catcher, it was kind of annoying because you had to slide under it, but really I wasn't in danger of taking that much damage. It was quite predictable and personally was one of the easiest to avoid getting hit by. So I didn't really find it frustrating. The frustrating part was actually trying to hit it, and if you use a special weapon like the Metal Blade, this boss is destroyed. But yeah, I did like that the stage introduced new gimmicks, but really the stage outside of the boss fights was really boring and forgettable. The main highlight of that stage is the Wily Archive and why it gets this 5th place, and I agree on it being the 5th place, for that reason alone. Also, from here on out, several of the stages will have bosses, either as mini-bosses or at the end of the stages, so please keep that in mind. Yeah, Dark and Mysterious Research Facility. But alas, we've completed all stages of Tier 4, so it's now time to go to the Tier 4 boss. And it'll be another familiar face. Well, to be fair, the bosses of Tier 2, 3, 4 are all familiar faces. Tier 1, well, not yet. Oh, hi there, Justice Man. It's been almost a year since I've last played Mega Man Rock Force. Yeah, I mean, we took back Justice Man's controller chip, or IC chip, and he was basically fried. Alright. I was kind of expecting that to happen in Rock Force when I first played it. Or the other way around, I mean. I thought Dr. Wily fried him or just faked it. But yeah, a lot less serious compared to the heartfelt conversation at the end of Rock Force. This one's much more on the silly side. That was an odd pause over there. Okay, he has that same attack from the... He fights similar to the way he fought in the Mega... at the end of Rock Force. Specifically, his combination of his first and second forms. He can fire that giant laser, but he won't destroy the end of the platform, so that's nice. He can jump up and do that attack, he can also slide. But overall, he's much easier to fight compared to the end of Rock Force. Plus, he can also fire charge shots. Although a lot slower, noticeably slower compared to the previous one. Because back in Rock Force, his charge shots fired at the same speed as you would do. He does have a new attack where he fires that spreader projectiles at current position, but especially with the new and improved Buster, he falls very fast. Kinda disappointing compared to the previous boss fight against Yoku Man and Blade Man. I really think that Justice Man could have been made more durable in several fashions, and maybe had one or two more attacks. But in reality, because the floor didn't move that much, and he didn't destroy the floor, this fight was much easier to go with. And the other reason was he didn't duck out of the way most of the time. Like in a lot of parts of the Rock Force final battle, Justice Man floated outside of the area. Out of your shooting area outside special weapons. But here he stayed relatively in the area you could hit him, barring the attack where he fires all those giant lasers. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry. But as I was saying, because he relatively stayed in our firing range for our Mega Buster during this fight, he was much easier compared to the Rock Force final battle, where he spent almost 40 to 50% of the fight outside of our normal shooting area, outside of special weapons. So yeah, kind of disappointing. I kind of wish there were hard mode versions of the end tier bosses. Oh yeah, and by the way, that is the last individual tier bosses. The bosses we will see in the following tier, they'll be connected directly to the stages themselves. There will be no separate arena for the bosses. So alas, we collected 20 energy elements, only 4 left to go. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Toodles!